So you have made the decision, a big decision, it's a huge decision, right? You've made the decision that you want to start your first ever cycle of anabolic steroids. The question is what to do. So before we go into how to structure your first cycle, there are some prerequisites that I'm hoping before you even contemplate taking a cycle that you can say to me, Afsa, I can tick that off, mate, because I've done them. Number one, you actually have spent time learning how to build muscle, and you have built muscle, and you have built a good layer foundation of strength. Number one. Number two, you have done cuts, you understand how to get yourself into good condition, right? Because what you've got to realize, before you go onto your first anabolic steroid cycle, you need to be in a position where you have a base layer of development. You actually understand how to fucking train hard. You actually understand how to eat. And you have demonstratable knowledge of that because you've built your body already to a level a lot further than what you began at. The last prerequisite is, and I advise this right now, you must, before you take your first anabolic steroid cycle, you absolutely must get blood work done. I'll tell you why. If you go into a cycle and you have no fucking clue where your blood work's at, you are literally pissing in the wind. It's directionless. You're going into your first cycle blind. So make sure you've got your blood work done and you have an idea of exactly where your hormone levels are at, your body's health is at, so that when you go into your first cycle, you're going into it educated. If you're going to do this, do it properly, because the step you're about to take is not only going to change the physiology of your body, you're going to introduce pharmacology, which in all honesty is going to change your entire experience. So make sure you've done your due diligence first and got everything that I've just told you done. If you can tick all those three things off, then we can discuss your first cycle. So when we talk about a first cycle, your first anabolic steroid cycle, let me tell you the rule that you should use, not only for your first steroid cycle, but for every fucking cycle that you do thereafter. Your goal when designing a cycle should be this: what is the minimal amount of anabolic steroids that I can utilize to make the maximum gain, right? Because if you do this, you'll not only have more longevity in terms of how much progress you can make, you also protect your health, right? You alleviate risks by doing this in the safest way that you possibly can. So your first cycle should be basic testosterone. The two types of testosterone that I would recommend are either testosterone anaphthonate or testosterone cypionate, right? These are great compounds to utilize. If you look at most TRT clinics, these are the two testosterones of choice. Now, when we talk about dosage, you don't need a lot. For your first cycle, honestly, 200 to 300 milligrams of testosterone is going to do fucking so much for you. It's going to revolutionize your progress. You're going to make more progress than you've ever made, right? So first, the base of the cycle is your testosterone. Now, what you can do to add to that is to utilize something like a low-dose Masteron or Prerequisites. What that does is it allows you to get more gains out of the testosterone you're taking and to also hold back estrogenic side effects. Now, these two compounds alone should see you gain muscle at a quicker rate than you ever have. I can tell you this now. I've taken people through their first cycle, and this is no exaggeration, just on testosterone itself, 1 amp per week. I've had not one, not two, I've had many clients gain about 10 to 15 kilos, 20 to 30 pounds of solid size fucking lean, right? Because why? Because they've gone into their cycle, they know how to eat, they know how to train, they have a good layer of development already, and they're using the minimal to get the maximum. Now, if you really want to spice your first cycle up, what you can do is add a mild oral in at a low dosage, either at the end of the cycle to push your gains a little bit further, or intermittently during your cycle to give you a bit more of a push. Typical oral compounds to utilize on your first cycle, in all honesty, I would say a low dose Anavar or low dose Dynabol, right? These are the two typical orals that a person will use. You will get so much out of just that cycle, it will literally change the complete development of your physique. And when we talk about, well, how long should I run it for, Afsa? So if you go on the internet, a lot of people will say, just do a 12-week cycle. Can I tell you the truth? I never tell a client, and I've never used with myself, a preset, predetermined length of time to be on cycle. Do you want to know why? Because everybody responds differently. And if you're making progress, why fucking stop? Number one. Number two, if you're monitoring your blood work consistently, then, and you're in a good position where you can see that your health markers are not really changing, you can still continue. So for everybody, it's going to be completely different. Be proactive with your blood work, right? Stay on top of things like your blood pressure, stay on top of things like your estrogen, your prolactin, know what's going on in your body, and then dictate your cycle lengths by the results that you're making and how your body health is. That will allow you to tailor something completely specific for your body. And look, I hate to say this because it sounds quite negative, but you know what you're going to realize after doing your first cycle? It's a real awakening. You'll realize that a 45-pound bottle of testosterone can do more than any supplement that you can fucking buy out there. That's why I'm not a big believer in bodybuilding supplements, because you'll spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bodybuilding supplements that really don't do anything. Then you'll spend 45 pounds on a bottle of test that can genuinely put on, in your first cycle, between 20 and 30 pounds of size. It's unreal.